Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from down under, and today we're going to be rating every class in Crunker.io, from worst to best. A couple months ago I did a tier list like this one. I rated every class in the game, and some of my opinions in that video were like flat out wrong. So we're going to rectify those mistakes today, and also we're going to be talking about two new classes that were added to the game after I did that tier list, and that's the Crossbow and the FAMAS. So overall, I am super excited to go and do this tier list, and if you guys are hyped as well, make sure to go and press that like button, and of course go and subscribe to the channel for more Crunker.io videos. Now, one thing before we start, I'm also going to be showing some gameplay on screen while I talk about the weapons, just so you guys have a visual representation about why a class might be strong or weak or anywhere in between. But with that said, let's get straight into it, and the first class I want to talk about today is the Revolver. Now, the Revolver is a hand cannon. It can do a lot of damage, but you need to go and aim correctly. Against the Hunter, against the Sniper class, if you go and shoot them in the head, you will go and get a one-shot kill, because the Hunter only has 60 HP, the Revolver does more damage than that, and you'll be able to get that one-shot kill. However, against 100 HP classes, you need to have a headshot and then a body shot in order to go and kill them, but they'll be left with just a little small amount of HP after that headshot. So overall, against 100 HP classes, the Revolver, if you can consistently land shots, will be good, but this is basically a hard counter against the snipers. So if there's any snipers in your lobby, go and swap to the Revolver and you will have a very fun time. This class has gone through quite a few nerfs over the last couple months. However, it's now in a state where I believe it is a very strong weapon if you're skilled. If you can go and aim for those headshots and consistently get those headshots, you're going to be doing a ton of damage and dominate the lobby. However, with that said, if you're not so good, the Revolver is a bit of a difficult weapon to pick up, because you really need to be a good aimer and also a good slide hopper, just sliding around the map, just popping people in the head. So with that said, not as good as it once was, but still a very strong weapon. We're chucking it in the A tier. So the next class we're going to be talking about is a relatively new one in Crunker.io, and that's the FAMAS, otherwise known as the Commando. Now, even though this gun hasn't been out for that long in comparison to the rest of the classes in this tier list, it's still a formidable weapon, but it has a very high skill floor. That means you have to be a quite decent player in order to go and use the FAMAS correctly. Now, the reason I go and say that is in order to go and one burst people, because the FAMAS is a free burst assault rifle. It's not automatic, you don't just hold it down, you have to keep clicking, and when you do one click, it'll shoot out 3 bullets very quickly. Now, the FAMAS, if you go and hit 2 headshots and a body shot on a 100 HP class, you will go and kill them in one burst. If you go and hit 1 headshot and 2 body shots on a Hunter, then you'll be able to go and one burst them as well. So with that said, in theory, this class should be extremely good, and lots of people should be picking it up. But the thing is, Crunker.io is a very fast-paced game. People slide hopping around the map, and the ability to land 2 headshots and a body shot is quite difficult, especially when people just going crazy and just sliding everywhere. Now, against the Hunter, it's a little bit easy. You only need 1 headshot and then 2 body shots, but still, it's very difficult, and if you go and miss a shot or 2, then you have to wait a short amount of time for the burster cycle, and then you can fire another burst. But with the Trigger Man, you just hold down that left click button and you can just go and track the sniper or anybody, bunny hopping around the map. So basically, the FAMAS in theory is quite good, but in reality doesn't really work in a game that is as fast paced as Crunker.io. With that said, if you're in a pub stomp lobby and people are not slide hopping, this gun can absolutely wreck, but in general gameplay, the FAMAS is not as good as people would have thought, so we're going to be putting it in the C tier. Alright, so the next class we're going to be talking about is the Submachine Gun. Now, the SMG is one of those classes where you can just run around the map at breakneck speed. You can slide hop, really high movement speed, overall really good if you're a very frantic rusher. It also has a great fire rate, the damage is pretty decent, but the damage drop off the range is very considerable. So medium long range, this gun is basically useless. Now, a couple patches ago, this gun got buffed from 24 bullets all the way to 28, which is a very, very considerable buff. However, there isn't a secondary. You don't have a pistol. So if you run out of bullets in your SMG, you're basically toast. You've got to go and do the reload, and if you go and miss it, you're basically dead. So overall, the SMG, one of my personal favorites in Krunker. It's really fun to go and run around, but if you're taking on a lot of people and you run out of bullets, you're pretty much toast, and you're just relying on the fact that you're just going to go really fast into a site and really surprise your enemies. And with that fact, you'll do decent, but against some other classes, you're not going to be having that much fun. So with that said, we're going to be putting it in the B tier for now. These are all, just tentative play scenes for now. I might go and swap things around once all the positions are in place. Alright, the next class we're talking about is the Akimbo Uzi class, otherwise known as the Agent. Now, the Akimbo Uzi is a gun that, I love, but I hate, because their functionality is very much limited to close range. You've got decent DPS in close range, high fire rate, moderate damage, but you're firing off just so many bullets. But you get the medium range, it's basically impossible to go and hit targets unless you're just standing still and you're crouching, so the spread is really tight. But the only way to get kills at, kind of past close range is just the slide hop and spray, but then you lose your momentum. Overall, the Uzi is a close range limited weapon and only is useful in a very few scenarios. Overall, it's a very fun gun, and I feel like it needs some buffs, potentially some more ammo in the magazine. That would be cool, and maybe potentially a secondary weapon just to go and have a bit of, medium to long range performance. But for now, I feel like I'm going to put it in the C tier because it's possible to get kills, but against better plays, you're really going to be outclassed. Alrighty, let's go and talk about the semi-automatic. The Marksman Rifle is one of those guns where I think people sleep on it. People sleep on this class. Despite it having less HP than, because all of these classes are 100 HP classes we're talking about right now, this is a 90 HP class, so it's 10 HP less. That means it can really just get wrecked by a lot of classes, because a lot of firefights come down to the wire. That last 10 HP can go and make a difference. However, the Marksman, it does go and have an ace of spades. It does have that actual rifle that can just obliterate people if you are quick on the trigger finger. If you just go and spam that trigger, you can dominate so many classes. Headshots do so much damage, the fire rate is insane, and overall the recoil is manageable. But with an 8 magazine size, this gun it's difficult to go and use as a beginner, but it's something that has a really high skill cap and, potentially could be a weapon where you could just dominate lobbies if you are good enough. But a lot of the time, you kill someone and you have no bullets, you have to go and reload it, and then you have to swap to the secondary, and then it gets a little bit dicey. But on one-on-ones, this gun is quite decent. I was like, okay, do I put it in the A tier? Do I put it in the B tier? I was, tossing and turning between these. I feel like it's worse than the Revolver, but I'd say maybe on par with the SMG. SMG maybe a little bit lower than SMG. So with that said, I think we've made up our mind. It's going to be put in the B tier. All right, let's get a quick one out of the way. That's the Runner class. Now, the Runner class is one of those meme classes, and I know the reason why to put it in the game, because some people like to have knife battles and stuff like that, but we're just talking about, public lobbies where we want to go and get kills and actually, get a good score and stuff like that. The Runner has 100 HP, has good movement speed, of course, because, it's the Runner class, but overall, you're not doing yourself any service by using this as your main class. It is most definitely the worst class in the game. It doesn't have really any capability to kill people, and let me go and say, if you wanted to go and use the knife and swipe around at people and kill them, just use the LMG. Has the most amount of HP in the game, and you can run around with a knife. And of course, your movement speed is a little bit lower with this one because the base MS is, a little bit lower. But overall, still, just run around the LMG and kill people, and it's actually really quite fun, because people think you're the runner, so they think you have 100 HP, but you have 170, so you're going to take a few more bullets than they expect. It's quite a fun thing. Maybe a video idea, go and tell me in the comment section below. But yeah, runner class in the trash tier, I think it is fairly self-explanatory. Now let's go and talk about a weapon that is definitely not trash tier, and that is the Triggerman. The Triggerman with the assault rifle. This is a class that is heavily picked up, and a lot of people going to use it, and for good reason. This is the jack of all trades, master of maybe some areas. This is not only a very versatile weapon, but as a gun that goes and outguns a lot of classes in the areas they should go and excel in. At close range, the assault rifle could go and outgun the submachine gun, could go and outgun the SMG. At long range, if you can go and hit headshots, the damage drop-off isn't that bad. You can go and out-snipe the sniper as the Triggerman. And at medium range, it's where it excels. The medium range is perfect. So overall, the assault rifle is like that perfect all-rounder class, and I highly suggest if you've never played Krunker before, or if you haven't picked up the Triggerman, go and pick it up, because it's one of the most balanced, well-rounded classes in the game if you want to just go and dominate at all ranges. And for that reason, we're putting it in the S tier. Our first S tier class. It's very well deserved. A super solid class. I highly suggest people to pick it up. So we talked about the FAMAS before, and that was one of the new added weapons to the game since I last did this tier list. Let's go and talk about the second new class, and that is the Crossbow, otherwise known as the Bowman, I believe. I don't even know the class name sometimes. I just know them by what their weapon is. But the Crossbow class is... it's a bit of a doozy. I remember when it first came out, Sydney was like, this class is like actual hidden OP. And when I first started picking it up, I was like, okay, in close ranges, this gun can actually be really good, because you've got that red dot sight, and in close range, the travel time doesn't matter that much. But you go at the medium range, you go at the long range, this gun is basically not useful. And the reason why it was kind of good back in the day is because people didn't know how to slide hop. But now, a lot of people know how to slide hop, and movement is just so pivotal to the game now that you just can't lead ahead that much. You try to go and lead ahead, and it just doesn't work. You miss your shots, and anybody can go and kill you. So it's one of those classes that it's fun if you're playing with your mates and you want a bit of a laugh, but overall, as a functional Krunker.io class, it's got to go all the way down here. It has very limited use cases, but all those use cases are basically, you know, the same as the sniper rifle, but the sniper rifle just does so much better in everything else as well. So overall, very hard to recommend, but it is useful. It is better than the runner class, so we're putting it in the D tier. Alright guys, next class to go and talk about is the RPG, the Rocketeer, because this is a class that has gone through some very heavy changes, because before it was you shoot the one rocket and you could very consistently kill people in one shot. You would fire it, you would reload, you'd go and get that kill, easy peasy. But now, 2 rockets, but they do significantly less splash damage. You really have to be on point with your rockets. And now, the Rocketeer actually has jumping. It has rocket jumping like TF2. So you can go and fire at the ground, jump up in the air, go and fire another rocket down, whip out your pistol if you don't get the kill. It's a process that can take an enemy off guard, but the reload time of the Rocketeer is just too high, and the whole process, the gameplay loop around this class is very difficult to go and actually, you know, be functional and actually go and get a lot of kills with. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's also very frustrating because there's basically no splash damage now. And it's just a class that you can have a lot of fun with and try to get some trick shots, but you're not going to actually go and be up here with the top contenders in Krunker.io. So pretty much it's going to be down again in the D tier. It's another one of those meme classes where you can do some work with it, I suppose, but in most circumstances, you're going to be outgunned. Alright, my friends, we're down to the final 3 classes, and I know you want to go and hear my opinions on these. So let's go and start out with the Sniper, the Hunter, because this is This is a class that so many people go and pick up, and there is so much complaints. Oh, you know, the sniper's underpowered, the sniper's overpowered. There's so much talk about it. In my opinion, I feel like the sniper, the hunter, is the class with the highest skill ceiling. If you're an incredibly good first-person shooter player, the sniper will dominate every single class in the game. No doubt. If you're a good sniper player, you can go and dominate every class. The 100 HP classes are very, very prevalent. The assault rifle, revolver, SMG, so on and so on. Very, very prevalent. You go and get that body shot directly in the chest, you'll be able to go and kill them. Against the LMG, you'll have a little bit more trouble, but just whip out that pistol. I keep saying revolver. Whip out that pistol, the deagle, bang. One shot in the chest, two shots in the chest, easy peasy. The LMG is down as well. This is a class where if you're good, you will go and excel, and it's very much determined by the actual user, you know, actually using the gun. It doesn't have a very high margin for error. If you're a not so good player, the sniper isn't really for you. Given how fast paced Krunker is, you gotta be fast paced as well, slide hopping around the map, and of course you only have 60 health in comparison to the standard of 100 health. So you're gonna get one shot by a revolver. You need to have movement, you need to have good aim. But with that said, if you have that, if you're a good player, this class can be one of the best classes in the game, and I'd say it is one. I'd say top two right now. AR, sniper rifle. If you're really good, these can go toe to toe, back and forth, and overall, it's just these are just really solid classes. And the sniper, highly suggested to go and pick it up if you want to go and just dominate lobbies back to back. Second to last class, the light machine gun, and I'm going to have a bit of a controversial opinion on this. The light machine gun, 170 HP, incredibly slow base movement speed, so if you're just walking along the ground, really easy just to go and get gunned down. But with that said, it has a red dot sight. If you can go and hit headshots, it does decent amount of damage. The damage drop-off is a little bit not so good, so against the longer ranges, you're going to get outgunned. But overall, the LMG is one of those classes where it has hidden potential. It has hidden potential because if you can go and slide hop with this class, if you can slide hop and if you can aim, and if you can go and do those two together and just spin, just loops around your opponents, and I've got no idea what's happening, they won't be able to get shots on you. If they get shots on you, you've got 170 HP. You're just going to be just so invincible. And if you can aim, you can go and take them out. The LMG is a sleeper pick, and people go and underestimate it. Yes, it is frustrating just in general, but in the hands of a great player, it is extremely frustrating. And I would go and say it is an A tier weapon. I think it's better than the SMG. I think it's better than the semi, and I think it's a really core component to any good Krunker.io team. So overall, LMG players, they might not get all the kills, but they are so influential in the tide of the battle, going just rushing into the hard point, soaking up the bullets, get a 1-for-1 trade against a sniper, against an assault rifle. That is really good, and I'm just pulling more from like competitive side here, but overall, in the pub scene, not so good. But just in general, this class is very strong, and I highly suggest to go and check it out and learn how to slide hop, because if you didn't know how to slide hop, the LMG would be down here. Because slide hopping on the LMG, you have less time in the air. So you less time in the air, so you have to go and get that key presses really quick, really fast. But if you can go and do that, we're up here. You can just do loops around your opponents, and it is extremely satisfying. So A tier for the LMG. Alright, my friends, we're down to the final class in Krunker.io right now. And oh my friends, I am super excited to go and talk about this one. Because in the previous tier list, I went and said that the Uzi is a better class than the shotgun. I rectified it at the end of the video, but overall, it's one of those things like, why did I think that? The shotgun is incredibly powerful. At close range, you can go and one-shot any class in the game. Even the LMG in close range, you can go and one-shot it. Just incredibly powerful in that aspect. But the range of this weapon is so great that you can go and do decent damage to people at medium range. Medium range of a shotgun, it just blows my mind. But You can go one shot the hunter at medium range very consistently and quite decently damage the triggerman and other 100 HP classes. Then, if they're weakened, pull out the deagle, bang, one shot to the chest or shot to the head if they have more HP, and then they're gone. And of course, you can go and shotgun jump as well and just outthink your opponents. So many tools, so much strength to this class. It's one of those where I'm like, why did I put it in the B tier when I last did it? It's definitely an S tier deserving weapon, and I would say it is for the general player base of Krunker.io. I think this is the best class in the game. Like, if you're just starting out Krunker and you don't know what to go and use, the shotgun is there for you. It's incredibly powerful. It's cheap, I would go and say, given that you can go and outgun really high skill players. Like, if they're just slide hopping around you and just close range, bang, you don't even really need to aim in if they're close range. Obviously, aiming in is fantastic and the spread is tighter, so it's easy for you to get the kill. But against better players, this is like the thing that can really turn the tide. So as a pub stomper, I highly suggest it. In competitive, I suggest it. I think it's banned in comp right now in the official tournaments just because of how strong it is. So overall, extremely strong class, and I think this is my final tier list. AR, sniper rifle, shotgun in the S tier, well deserving. Revolver, LMG, SMG semi. Some people would say that this should be a thing or this should be a thing, but we're gonna keep it here. I feel like the LMG is a hidden sleeper pick, and SMG is not as good, given that the AR is just rising above right now. And the rest of the tier list is pretty self-explanatory. Now, if you guys want to go and see an additional tier list, like if you want to see me do a tier list on maps or modes and stuff like that, go and tell me in the comment section below. I would absolutely love to hear it. But for now, it's Undercover Dudes, all the way from Down Under, out.